What's your excuse? How you doing, YouTube? It's Will from Will Development, and this is my 110th weekly update. I hope you enjoyed Nate's update last week, and like he said, I really didn't have a lot going on, and honestly this week I didn't have a whole lot going on, but I figured I would talk about that weight loss competition that he had mentioned, and I'm sure I mentioned it as well. The weigh-ins were supposed to be on Monday next week, and luckily we decided to move it up to today. Luckily, it's hard to say which is luckily, but regardless, we did move it up today, and I found out that I did officially win it by losing a total of 17 pounds. The reality is I probably lost like real weight between fat and muscle, probably somewhere around to 12 pounds, if that, and then I lost the other 5 or 6 last night and this morning and the day before, the last few days, just shedding water weight, which is always fucking terrible. Just no question. It's just god awful. I don't wish it on anybody, and I now have a deeper appreciation for what Nate was going through when he was doing his cut last week. Another thing I did want to talk about is I recently, and by recently about 20 minutes to an hour ago, got a call from my cardiologist, my doctor. For those who don't know, a cardiologist is a doctor of the heart. And over the last month or so, I've been establishing myself with a new cardiologist because the one I've been seeing since birth actually retired, so I had to go to a new one and get regular things that I used to get done at the old one through this new cardiologist. And they're great. It's actually at the hospital where I had my surgeries. And I went last week. Everything worked out so well because the place was in Tampa, and it was the Tampa Strongman Classic, and I was staying with Nate and his family in Tampa. Yeah, everything worked out so well. And I had the appointment last Friday. I went for my MRI so they could take a better look at my heart and come to a decision as to if I would be needing a surgery anytime soon. And the call he just made was to confirm that I will be needing a surgery, and I've actually been scheduled to have another surgery on November 16th, which is about a couple weeks away. Now the beauty is, about 13 years ago, I went through an open heart surgery, and I remember that very distinctly. I was 12 at the time, I think. 11 or 12 at the time, and it was fucking terrible. The whole experience, and it wasn't any fault of the doctors, it's just a painful fucking experience. They're cutting open your chest and moving shit around, and then you got these tubes in your stomach. It's awful. I'll do videos on this stuff because I'm finding out that people are actually kind of interested in that, so I will eventually do some videos just on that stuff. But regardless, they have a new method where they basically go through a catheter in the large vein that's near your groin, and they just send a tube all the way straight up into the heart and just put a new piece of plastic in there to keep it open. And I honestly have been feeling a little lethargic lately over the past, I'd say, month or so. Even if I get good sleep and eat well, I'm still feeling a little, I'm not going to say tired, or, just lethargic, unable to get good blood flowing, and that's honestly what the piece of plastic in my heart's all about. The conduit is literally just keeps blood flowing throughout my body. And if I get less blood flow, it makes it a lot harder to just do general things, especially train the way I like to train. So I'm excited, I'm nervous. I will give more details about it next week probably. I'm going to try to get back into training this week. Obviously, I'm not planning on doing anything too crazy. The beauty of this particular type of surgery is it's minimally invasive. They talk about a 2-week recovery time max. Like, I'll be going home the day after the procedure, which is so unlike the open heart surgery, which is you basically stay in the hospital for at least a week. But they just like to keep you there for 24 hours of observation and then send you home. And then he said after a week you can return to normal things like work and walking and things like that. And then after 2 weeks, just go back to your daily life, which for me would involve training. So, needless to say, I'm not going to try to dive too hardcore into my training because, not that I don't see a point, but it's not really, I don't want to say it's not intelligent either, but I don't know how to put it. I don't feel like getting 2 good weeks in and then having to stop for 2 weeks. So I'm just going to stick to doing the same stuff I've been doing, save the last couple days, where I just do some bodyweight things like pull-ups and push-ups, chin-ups, coupled with things like goblet squats and shoulder, dumbbell overhead press and things like that. And I'll just continue those, and I might actually start filming that stuff. It's just kind of boring to look at compared to some of the other lifts I used to do, or I should say usually do. Deadlifts, squats, things of that nature. But regardless, we'll get to it, and we'll get through it, and I have plenty of footage from the comp last week, which I will be releasing probably next week. I should have some time to edit this weekend. I got some stone work to do because obviously I made some good connections while at the competition, and some guys here in Florida need some stones, so they came to the best. And if you're not coming to the best to get your stones, then what's your excuse?